Okay, guys. Today, in this first series of interviews for Tycon, it's my absolute privilege to be here with Kunal Khattar. Now, Kunal and I have been talking. Hey, Kunal, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in.
Right? Thanks, Paritosh.
Cool.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Joy to be here with you, Kunal. Before I hand over the conversation to you, I want to introduce you. And I want to do an informal introduction. So anyone who's listening and watching, this is the first time Kunal and I have met. Of course, we would have shaken hands at Thai, but this is the first time we've had one-on-one conversation, and I have been blown away, right? I've gotten to know that Kunal has a great pedigree that he's coming from. His father has set pretty high standards, took Maruti public. Kunal has been in the auto industry for a very long time. At one point in time, after running a successful business, he had to make a choice. Well, he came up with a question in his mind to launch other business or to help launch another business of his own or to help other businesses do well. And he chose the latter. His goal is to help over 100 companies do well, inspire them, fund them, support them, guide, mentor, the whole package there, right? And today he is dominating the EV space, mobility space, helping businesses there. Some pretty solid names came up, right? His early investors have been names like Munjals, Mothersons, right? The companies that he has helped are Shuttle, Rapido, many companies like this. He has a huge name. I couldn't take note of all of those, okay? So when we're having this conversation, guys, I want you to understand that you're speaking to someone who's been there, done that, right? And has a lot of depth in this space. And we're going to have an amazing conversation about the role of networking and how can you network with Kunal and other people like Kunal at Tycon. All right, cool. So here we go. Kunal, once again, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much, Paritosh. Again, yep.
My pleasure, Kunal. So, Kunal, I want to keep this conversation focused on networking. In the 10 minutes I've spoken with you, I know that this could be a much deeper conversation with the experience that you have. But let's keep this zeroed in on our true north, which is networking here. Okay, so first question, very basic. Your philosophy on networking. When somebody says networking, right, what is that it means to you?
It simply means expanding the number of people that you know. And more importantly, it's getting to know people for mutual benefits. I think that is very important. I mean, one should not assume that networking is a one-way street. It's a question of give and take as well. Ultimately, I'm approached many times and people are just assume that they come to me because they want to raise funding, but they don't realize is I'm actually also networking because I want to learn more and more about my industry and sector, which is why I think it's absolutely amazing that events like Tycon gives an opportunity for us to do that.
Absolutely. Now this is so interesting, Kunal. You're talking gems, but they're coming in a very short sentence, right? So I want to expand on this. Okay, guys, Kunal just said that networking is about give and take, right? And he said that where he's at a position where people want to come and meet him for investments, but he's also looking for things, maybe looking for learning, looking for ideas, looking for good people, right? So when you're out there networking at Tycon, no matter who you're networking with, please keep in mind that they are there also for a reason. And that reason is not to just cut you checks, as much as you would love to believe that, but that's not truly the case. Okay, you're networking with human beings, right? And what I'm really excited about, Kunal, is the give and take that you just mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people out there are going to networking events only to get mindset, right? And that's often a challenge that comes in the way in building great relationships, right? Cool. Thank you for that. So I'm going to need more questions. If you're going to answer questions so quickly, then I'm going to need more questions to have this conversation with you. All right, cool. Okay, let's go to the next one. You're doing well, Kunal, today, right? You've done well. You're at a good place. You've got a lot of credibility in the market. But if I ask you this question, that if you could go back in time and redo one thing that you've probably not done in the area of networking, or you think you might have done wrong, right? If you had a retake on one, mm-hmm. let's say 10 years back, a decade back, and you could correct that one thing or do something that you did not do back then, right? In the context of network, what would that be?
I mean, there's many, but I think the most important thing is do your homework. If you're going to an event or if you're going to meet somebody, it's important to spend a little bit of time and to understand that individual or that organization a little bit better. Even if it's cold calling or you're sending a cold email, personalize it. And when you have a minute or 2 minutes to impress somebody, nothing can be more impressive than if you meet a complete stranger and in the beginning 2 minutes you're able to drop a couple of data points or say something about him or her and their organization, which creates familiarity in that conversation. And what I've seen is that once you start a conversation or an email, but you refer to maybe the vision of that company or the background of that individual, response is significantly better and conversations are far more productive. So do your homework.
Cool, do your homework. So I want to create an example here. Tell me, Kunal, if I'm getting this right. So let's say I'm an EV company or I'm a mobility company, and I know who you are. One is, if I'm coming to TiECon, I know that you're coming. I should do my homework, check the list of maybe the mentors that are there, charter members that are there, the people that I want to meet. Step number one. Step number two, I should read up about you, your company, the goal of the company, the vision, mission of the company, what the company is trying to achieve. Step number two. Step number three, when I come to you, instead of coming and bringing my card out and feeling excited that, hey, Kunal works in EV space, I'm in EV space, I'm going to give my card and Kunal's going to get excited. Instead of that, I approach you and I say something like, hey, Kunal, I'm thoroughly impressed with the work that you're doing. I know you've done this, you've done that. One of this acquisition, this achievement that you guys had was mind-blowing. And it's truly a privilege to be meeting you. By the way, if it is okay, can I also introduce myself? This is what I do, right? So if I take what you said, would this be the right way for someone to approach?
Absolutely. I think that's a perfect template to follow. I think what's important, another advantage that of doing your homework is that, it's not just, the person you're trying to approach, his time, it's also your time. So in an event, you can either have 20 or 30 shallow conversations or 10 very deep conversations. So it's always better to narrow down the people that you want to interact with, people who are from your domain, especially from an investor point of view. I'm referring to that. So it's important for you to know if you're approaching an investor who's sector focused, then it should be in a sector that you are operating in. Also, the kind of check sizes that a company or a fund invests in, that's the size that you're looking to raise. I mean, if you're looking to raise a seed fund, a seed check, no point going and talking to a late stage growth investor and vice versa. So do your homework, be very specific, and that way it's not a question of quantity, but the quality of conversations that you have.
Absolutely. And that is such an important advice, Kunal. The pattern that's out there, unfortunately, a lot of people are practicing something called splash and dash. They'll appear at an event, they'll give their card to as many people as possible, hoping that someone's going to bite, right? And that takes
doesn't work. I come home with 25 business cards in my pocket. I'm honest with you, I'm not being disrespectful and I love the hustle. But unfortunately, out of that, 90% of cards will be from founders who are outside of my domain or looking to raise check sizes, which are not typically what I cut. So it's very unfortunate that people think that they've been very productive because they've had an opportunity to reach out to 25, 30 investors. But I think it's, again, back to my point that quality is better than quantity. And that is why you need to do your homework.
Absolutely. And this is not to say that we shouldn't talk to people who may not be transactionally relevant to us, right? But a big part of our work, our objective of coming to events like TiECon is a transaction, maybe giving something, maybe getting something. And when we are focusing on the transaction, being focused is where the value is, right? Mm-hmm. That's amazing, Kunal. Lovely. So guys, sidebar. Kunal has just told you how can you approach him at TiECon. It doesn't get easier than this. It doesn't. So you can actually go do the homework, go him and tell him first that, hey, Kunal, I watched your video, I did my homework, and I want to say I'm thoroughly impressed with your work, right? That's double advantage you'll get. You'll get twice the points because you've watched the video, right? Kunal is sharing something. You've taken that, you've learned. Amazing. Amazing. All right. Kunal, this is going absolutely fantastic. We want to keep this short, quick, consumable. So here is my one last question to you. right? When it comes to events like TiECon, I'm not just limiting it to TiECon, but events like TiECon, right? What is the one advice that you will give to people on how can they maximize the networking experience? And out here, I want to go beyond the scope of company looking to meet an investor, because there could be so much more opportunities out there, right? What mindset could they come in? What is that they could do that could help them get a lot more value here? Just one piece of advice.
I think the most important thing is come with an open mind. It's not just networking. I think there are some amazing speakers, panels, keynote addresses. So be selective. It's not important for you to spend the entire day listening to people. I think have a good balance of listening, learning, and observing, as well as interacting with people. What's also very important is, and what has been very helpful for me is at the end of the event, when you come back, sit down with a pen and paper and list down the 4 or 5 things that you have got out of that event, and make sure to follow up. A lot of people come to these events, interact, come home, go to sleep, and next morning it's done. Remember, we are here, we will always be there, but we have probably end up interacting with 50 to 100 people in that event. The thing that I've seen where such a fleeting opportunity to meet somebody results in something productive are people who actually end up following up with me the next day. So always remember, the event is as important as what you not only learn at that point, but what will make it more productive is to follow up after the event.
This is so amazing. This is resonating. It's like music to me, Kunal. Is one of the things I say when I'm teaching networking to people is that success in networking comes from what you do after. Right? Going to an event, meeting people is easy part. I know the world thinks that's the hardest thing to do. It's not. A lot harder is to actually take that forward, right? Because of platforms like TiE, it is so powerful that we have access to people like you and many other amazing people, which would otherwise be so difficult. I mean, if I think about it, wanting to come to your office, knock on the door, and to have an opportunity to meet you there would be probably a 10, 50 times harder gig. And out there, TiE is bringing you, other people together, right? How amazing is that? And the power lies in what we do after.
So that another thing quickly I wanted to point, and at least I used to do that when I was young and starting out in life. I used to go to events, we used to exchange business cards, right? Was the normal way. I used to always carry a pen in my pocket. After every meeting, I'd step aside and on the back of the business card, make a little note in terms of what was the key takeaway from that 1 minute or 2 minute interaction. And then put it in my pocket. So when I used to come home after the event, I would have 25 business cards with just one little note behind each of them. That would really help me in my mind think through what is it that I wanted gain from that interaction, or what is that one key takeaway that I needed to do as a follow-up. So now not only I had the name and the contact number of the person, but also the action item from that 1 minute interaction. And today people are exchanging QR codes, mobile numbers and all, which is nice, but I think ultimately it's important to have that pen and paper and keep making notes, or you can type it out on your phone. But that's key, because you get confused when you meet 30 people, you forget who did you meet, what did you want. But that little pen and that little point on the back of a business card used to really help me for making events more productive.
Absolutely. And one more advantage. This is again, guys, this is gold, right? If you want to learn this shit from me, you have to pay a lot of money. Hey, you're getting it for free. And from the horse's mouth. And Kunal, one more amazing advantage of what you've just said. You're saying such amazing things so simply, but these are so powerful. When I make a note on the back of the card, right? Tomorrow when I call you, I can actually use that as the anchor point of the conversation, right? If you said something amazing and I wrote that down, when I call you or I email you, I can say, hey, Kunal, it was great to have met you. By the way, what you said at the moment when we were having a conversation completely blew my mind, right? So, because like you said, you would also be meeting 50, 100 people, right? You're not going to remember everyone. And this is where the game could change. Amazing, Kunal. I think we're doing injustice cutting this short. There is so much more that I had this confidence when I heard your introduction that this is going to be amazing, but I think it just has to be go we have to redo this in a much longer version. Hopefully, we'll plan for that soon. Thank you so much, Kunal. Absolutely amazing. Right. And guys, listen to this once more. Right? I don't say this for a lot of interviews that I do, but you really have to listen to this one more. And when you listen to it again, take paper, pen, take notes. Amazing gems here. Amazing, Kunal. And I look forward to seeing you at TiECon.
Yes, look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. God bless.
Bye-bye.